Welcome, YouTube world, to another video. Borderlands 3 Update 1.02. This is the first actual update that I get, or that we get, since the game actually came out. Because when I first downloaded the game, it was already on 1.01. Now we're on 1.02. If you don't want to hear me narrate the patch notes, by the way, there's going to be a link in the description for you to just click on and read them at your own leisure. So let's get right into it. Performance. We've addressed a reported concern where certain users with a lot of people in their friends list saw more frequent hitching. Implementing general stability improvements. I also want to note, that this update probably doesn't take care of exploits and all that. That's usually all done on the server side. So there's a lot of hot fixes, which is why you've noticed sometimes when you pause the game, you'll be like, hey, there's a new update to your game. Do you want to go back to the main menu? And I'm sitting there. I've been gaming for 3.5 decades, and I'm like, what? It's because it's done server side. This is an actual update that's embedded in your game. Anyhow, general fixes and improvements. So we've addressed a reported issue where Kilovolt's Shield Storm attack does not disable the tiles around Kilovolt, resulting in the entire floor being activated. Oops. Yeah, I'd say. Addressed a potential progression blocker in the mission Footsteps of Giants. Well, that's interesting. Get it? Footsteps of a giant. You would think that the progression of walking like a giant would be great. Apparently this one was blocked. Must have been Trump's wall. Anyhow, addressed a reported issue where Guardian rank had the potential to become non-functional and or the player could potentially lose Guardian rank tokens into the negatives. Modified vending machines, so it will now sort items by rarity. Thank God. Console FOV, yes, field of view, thank you, is now set to 75 by default. This will not affect players who have already started the game. Special prompts for particle text, TDR guns, critical immune are now properly localized. Addressed a reported concern that certain players experienced where their vehicle's boost could continue into the next map. Addressed a reported concern with porcelain pipe bomb, where it set off multiple explosions when colliding with objects. Aw, this grenade was never meant to explode multiple times. All enemies in Borderlands universe are now safe from being instantly melted by radioactive poop. Well, that's no fun. UI adjusted the verbiage for left stick and right stick inside the Russian localized version of the control option screen. Those Russians, always up to something. Addressed a reported issue where certain users experienced a failure of the audio to play when spending skill points in the UI. The text is now correctly marked invalid when you enter an invalid email address on the Shift account creation page. We've addressed a reported issue where the item of the day item card would flash briefly before displaying on vending machines. Addressed a reported concern that certain players were served an unread mail icon when they didn't have mail to be read. Well, that's not fun. You had your hopes up, you were going to get something special in the mail, and you got a goose egg. You got nothing. No Amazon Prime for you. Iron Bear button prompts will now correctly update if you rebind your controls. Modified various features and elements of Crazy Earl's store. Addressed a reported issue where subtitles wouldn't display until after the initial cutscene. Yeah, that's kind of messed up. Addressed an issue experienced by certain players that social notifications could become stuck on screen. Addressed a player concern that certain item preview images were failing to load inside the player bank. Interesting. Is it because they were borrowing our items and then they saw that we were going in there trying to retrieve our items? Oh, quick, load it back. PC only. Addressed an issue reported by certain PC players where the focus from the mouse's last known location was sticking around even when playing with a gamepad. Well, that's what you get, you PC elitist jerks. You wanted the mouse and keyboard. The mouse wanted to stick around. It was looking for the cheese. That probably wasn't funny, but I don't care. Split screen and online multiplayer. We addressed a concern reported by certain players that the dialogue volume faded too low before switching to echo audio during split-screen gameplay. What? You see what I did there? Addressed a concern reported by certain players that sounds were too quiet. object. Or for the second split screen player, if they move too far from player 1. Well, I don't know about you, but in real life, if I move really far away from player 2, assuming I'm player 1 in real life, there's going to come a point where it gets quiet and I can't hear them. I'm just saying. So if you want to keep this semi-realistic, addressed a concern reported by certain players that 3 player groups were having trouble matchmaking with an additional solo player. 3-on-1. I got no comment. Addressed a reported concern experienced by certain players that in split screen one player's sprinting animation could be interrupted by the other player opening the echo menu. Addressed a concern reported by certain players that in split screen where one player's aiming down sights could be interrupted by the other player opening the echo menu. So you like, well, I mean, I don't have a gun, but you know, you go to aim and then you open the echo menu and it's like, it's stuck. Kind of looks Borderlands-ish. No? Anyways, enough of that. Where the hell was I? Oh, there. Addressed a handful of reported client replication issues. Addressed Tina's pizza bomb, so it displays correctly for clients. If I'm ordering pizza, the only thing I want it exploding with is extra cheese and pepperoni. Modified certain audio elements that were reportedly looping for clients. Addressed a reported player concern, so the Guardian skill Dead Man's Hand now functions properly. Now, they just made that one too easy. Listen, a Dead Man's Hand ain't supposed to be functioning, period, let alone properly. But in Borderlands 3, whoopsh, anything's possible. Player icons are now pinned to the side of the minimap when playing in any kind of multiplayer. This update contains the first batch of performance fixes. It's far from exhaustive, but we wanted to address issues and concerns with changes that were ready and tested out as soon as possible while the team continues active investigation and work on additional performance improvements for upcoming batches. At the end of the paragraph, I'm allowed to breathe. If you've noticed a potential concern that has affected you that is not addressed in this update, please send us your data. Many factors are at work, and collecting info from a variety of folks can go a long way to help us find commonalities, identify the root cause, and address confirmed issues. The best way to get your data would be to open a support ticket with 2K and include the following information. Boom. You can read that there. I'm done. We're done. We're out of time. 8 minutes. Who the hell stayed to the end? You're crazy. Seek help. Seriously. Pat yourself on the back. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. You didn't like the video, go ahead. Give it a thumbs down. And I'll make sure when you play the game, I invade your game. And I take all your shit, all your Guardian points. You get nothing. You're back to square zero. Everything's reset. Better yet, the game uninstalls. And you're done. And you gotta buy the game all over again on top of that. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, I mean, naturally, that would be wonderful now. And if not, well, thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care, boys and girls, or whatever you identify as, and I shall see you all in the next video. Bye now.